G'day guys, my name is Zoe Carter and this is my first video back in a very, very long time. I do apologise. I'm going to turn the dishwasher off. So this is my first video back in a very long time. I do apologise, but here's the new setup. Pretty shit at the moment. We'll get there. So today, how to get a job in the agricultural industry. I apologise if you can't read this. I'm going to run through it all, but we'll break it down. I get this question so often. I get probably, I'd say 100 to 200 messages a month, probably more, and comments of how do I get a job in the agriculture industry? Where do I start? What skill sets are good to have? Just everything. We're going to run through it today and we're going to have a yarn about pretty much your education, your licenses and certificates, applying for your jobs, and then moving up the ranks. So we're going to start up here. In the schooling and education. Now, I finished year 12. I recommend it. It's not necessary at the end of the day. The biggest thing that most employers in the agriculture industry want is you to have your license and your manual license. Auto is just, it's not, it's a bit of a, you've got your auto license. I'm talking like 99 out of 100 farm utes are manual. If they need you to go into town, if they give you a work ute to drive around in your own time, anything like that. It's really hard to have an auto. They are around, but it's important. Get your manual license. It's easier. It's just, I know it's a pain in the ass for a lot of people. A lot of people's parents don't have manual cars. They don't know how to drive a manual. Just find an instructor, learn. That's your number one. So obviously your license is a big thing. If you don't have a license, you pretty much don't bother applying. It's going to be near impossible. So finish school either until you've finished year 12 or until you have your driver's license. So that's kind of your thing, is people are like, I want to drop out in year 10. I'm like, that's okay if that's what you want to do, but do you have your license? There's no point, do you know what I mean? So either finish to year 12, get your driver's license. Don't finish school before either of those times unless you have a really good solid job to go to or you do a trade. Ag certificates, if your school offers it, get an agricultural certificate, even if it's just certificate 1 or certificate 2. I did a certificate 2. If your school doesn't offer an agricultural program, talk to them about it. And it is hard, and you've really got to fight them on it. But sometimes they can send you to another school for a day a week and you do their agricultural program. So it can be an option. If that's not an option, do something else. Equine studies, so horses, horticulture studies, plants. There's another one in the back of my head that's coming up. Oh, real world science, like certain type of sciences, biology, anything to do with animals. If you really like, and again, depending on where you want to head in the agriculture industry, if you want to go for a couple of years, do a kind of gap year, don't worry about it. But if you want to get into like the breeding sector, stud work, things like that, having some form of science or biology isn't necessary, but it is something that, you know, can be helpful to an employer looking for someone that, you know, they want to teach long term and already has the basic knowledges of it. And a trade. If you can't do ag studies or you want to do a trade, do a trade. It is good to have on your resume. And we'll touch base on it later down here. Trades can help you get jobs on a farm, and then you can do half trade, half farm work. So it is easy for you to get a job to start off with, and then you move into farming and agriculture down the track. Trades that are handy, boilermaker, like fabricating, metal fabricating, welding up sets of yards. If you can weld, you can get a job. It is easy. Even like plumbing, obviously a lot of your irrigation, into your irrigation, a lot of your water and stuff in and out of, you know, your water troughs into your tanks. A lot of farming is elsewhere, you know, away from civilization, normal civilization. So if they need a plumber to be able to fix something, it's awesome. Carpentry, literally any trade will help you get that little step into the industry. Another thing that is also really unknown is your governessing. And your station cooks. So again, if you want to get into the agriculture industry and you're struggling because you just don't have the skill set, governessing is where you look after their children and you educate their children. So you can do that, and then on your days off on the weekend, you can go out and muster and learn the basics. And then your next job, which we'll touch base later, is your next job, you can then go into just farming. And your station cook, which is again a really easy one. If you know how to cook, you can get a job on a farm, and station cooks, There's jobs everywhere. Everywhere you get accommodation, everything is in, there, and all you've got to do is cook. As long as you can cook without killing people, and trust me, these boys and girls will eat fucking anything half the time, is you can get a job. And then again, do your stuff, make a dickload of food on like Tuesday, and then you don't have to cook for Wednesday, Thursday. You can go out again, go muster. Like, you know what I mean? It's your stepstones into the industry if you can't quite get in there. Next, number 2. So we've touched on the education section. Number 2 is skill sets. Skills are a brilliant way to get jobs again. So it's not necessarily about education. I'm not going to go up to a farmer and say, oh yeah, I had a 94 ATAR coming out of high school. They don't care. They want skill sets, they want life skills, things like that. Your first one obviously is your licenses. For example, again, getting a driver's license, get your manual license, things like that. On top of that, things like your firearms license, so your gun license. If you can go up to a farmer and say, oh, on my days off, I like to do pest control, wild dogs, pigs, deer, kangaroo, if they have permits, things like that. And you say, yeah, this is my skill set. That's something that they look for as well, is they go, oh, sweet, you can help us keep control of the pig population while you're working for us, which again is a massive thing. So if you enjoy hunting and you enjoy things like that, you've got to be respectful about it, but it is another stepping stone into kind of getting above everyone else when applying for jobs. Things like that. Tickets. So like grader tickets, backhoe tickets, excavator, any operating things. Even if you can't get a ticket for something, skill sets, being able to operate a bobcat, being able to operate a front end loader, being able to operate tractors, things like that. Another thing, motorbikes. If you want to get a farm job, especially if you want to get a farm job full stop, you need to be able to ride the bare minimum. You need to be able to ride a 4-wheeler, so a quad, safely. On top of that, if you can, horse riding skills and motorbike riding skills. Now, your 4-wheeler brings it right down a bit. You can only apply for certain jobs. One of the places I've worked for previously, majority uses either 2-wheelers or horses. Some places will use everything, but again, the more versatile you are in the industry, the higher of a chance you are to get a job. So if they go, oh shit, we need 2 people on bikes, 2 people on horses, and 1 on a quad, they've already got someone on a quad, if you could only ride a quad, what are you going to do? So then they can go, right, you jump on a motorbike or you jump on a horse. And don't get me wrong, they will, again, depending on where you go, they will offer to teach you these skill sets. But even if you find a mate, put a post up on Facebook, I need someone to teach me how to ride a motorbike. Can someone help me out? I can guarantee you there'll be someone that'll be like, sure, come around, we've got bikes for you, come learn how to ride a bike. It's that easy. It's just how determined you are to want to be able to learn that skill set to then go into the industry. Riding a motorbike, the basics is a lot easier to learning how to ride a horse. But again, if you've got so many people have horses, horse riding school, and pay a couple $100 for a couple of months of lessons, off you go. Like, just learn the basics, things like that. Again, skills. It's the skill set. Your last one is animal handling and animal husbandry. Again, you can learn this on the job, but learning how to read animals and learning how to read a mob, learning how to put them through gateways and how to do things like low stress stock handling takes a long time to learn, because you need to be able to read cattle, which I'll touch on this later on in another video. But you need to be able to realize where your pressure points are on your livestock, where you can stand, how they work, how they move, how they rotate, how they sit in the mob, their flight and fight. There's so much. So the more animal husbandry and animal handling skills you can get under your belt, do it. If you know a farmer and he's not hiring, say, hey mate, this is really weird, but can I come do some work for you? I don't want to get paid. I'll volunteer my time. Can you teach me how to handle cows and how to handle sheep? The first cattle job I went to, like cattle station job, I dealt with a lot of sheep, hadn't dealt with cattle. And my boss saw that I was keen. I asked him questions and I was probably really fucking annoying. But he took me after a couple of days, took me out to the yards and said, right, I'm going to teach you how to handle cattle really well, because I can tell that you're not someone who's just going to come work for me and then disappear. I'll never see him again. I've done 2 mustering seasons for him. I was meant to do last year and I couldn't because of COVID. I was meant to do this year. I couldn't because of COVID. So there is next year, but we said that last year. But anyway, so he looks after me, I look after him. That's the way it works. But he could see, and your employers will see if you are passionate about the industry and you're passionate about learning, and they'll see that. So ask questions too. God, I can touch on so many bases about this, and I will ramble, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to try and congest it down, but it's just so much to go. Applying for jobs. There is a time of the year, depending on what industry you want to enter in, that applying for jobs during the time of the year matters. You got retail, you apply, coming into Christmas is, they obviously need more staff because they're busy. So things like that, depending on what industry you want to enter is when you apply for a job. Now, the first farm job I got was coming into ram sales. So working at a stud with obviously sheep, rams, things like that. Coming into ram sales is a really busy time. You've got to prep your animals. We're up at like 3 a.m, like cleaning their faces, making them look neat, getting all the yard set up, things like that. You need it all hands on deck. And depending on when your ram sale is, it comes into like buddies up to harvest. So and then shearing, and it's a hectic time of the year. So generally, depending on where you are, it's around, for memory, September, October kind of area. Look for jobs then. Even put up a post on like Facebook or something saying looking for a job. That was how I got for my first job. They desperately needed people to help out. I had my basics, my agricultural certificates from school. And they were like, sweet, we'll teach you as you go, but you know the basics. That's how I got my first job. He gave me a really good reference. I ended up staying longer to do shearing. He taught me how to work in a shed, taught me how to throw a fleece, shit like that. And then I went from there up to my next sheep station job, and then here we are, years later. So and then you've got your cattle station. If you want to do a long period of time, apply generally around December, January for March jobs, and then go from there. This time of the year, if you're watching August, September, October, people are desperately looking for people to muster. Sometimes you'll have a crew ready to go, someone will drop out and they go, we need someone right now to come help us out. 6 weeks, that's all you got to go away for, 6 weeks. Get someone to look after your horse, get someone to look after your dog. You'll be right, 6 weeks, isn't that long? Go do it, go away, have fun. Come back. If you didn't enjoy it, 6 weeks. If you loved it, organise your next job, get a reference from them. This time of the year is really good. Coming into the end of the year, again, it depends on the rainfall and stuff, is harvest. So sitting in a tractor, doing that kind of stuff, chaser bins, headers, things like that. Really exciting stuff if that's what you're into. I've never done cropping work, so I can't really talk about it too much. But again, that time of the year, like I get messaged regularly like, hey, do you want to come up to middle of New South Wales and come sit in a tractor for a month, which I'd love to. Unfortunately, I can't right now because I have a lot of commitments. But it's the time of the year. So this time of the year, so August, September, October, November, December is a really good time to apply for jobs because it's just a very busy time of the year. Honesty. Be honest. 100%, they will pick up on it. If you have ridden a horse a couple of times, you can walk, trot, canter, and you go up to them and say, yeah, I'm an experienced horse person, they're going to put you on breakers. And unless you know how to ride breakers, you're not going to be able to, they pick up on things like that. If you say, oh, be honest, be honest and say, look, I've been riding motorbikes for 2 months. I know the basics, but I'm learning, things like that. I'm not mechanically sounded at all. I'm terrible. I did not get taught about cars and things like that when I was young, and get into a habit of checking your oil, checking your water beforehand when you go out. But be honest. If you're not mechanically minded, be honest. If you aren't confident riding green horses, be honest. If you're not confident riding a two-wheeler, be honest. Just be honest with yourselves, things like that. Now, I'm going to jump back to the right job. Now, when it comes to the right job, sometimes it's not going to be perfect. If you have a dog, so say for example, you've got a dachshund, a little dachshund. You think to yourself in your mind, you'd be like, nah, surely no one would care if I took it. It's a little dachshund, things like that. But it is. So if you've got a little dog, or if you've got a pet, or if you've got a horse or something, do not expect to get a farm job that includes your animals when you have no experience. It's not going to happen. I see so many posts of young people that say, oh, my first job, but I have 2 horses and a dog. No, I'm sorry. Unless you get that 1 in a million job, it's not going to happen. And again, there's the chance there, but it's slim to none. So go away for 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And mustering season is that long, depending on where you go. It can be shorter, can be longer. Go away for 6 weeks. If you got a mate, just say, hey, I need you to look after my dog for 6 weeks. I'll buy 3 bags of dog food or more. Can you please look after him? I'm sure there'll be someone out there that'll happily look after your pet for you while you're away. Get that first step done, work from there, and then from there, then move into your higher jobs. My mate got a job up in the middle of New South Wales. She can take 2 horses with her. She's allowed as many dogs as she wants, pig dogs and working dogs. And she can go hunt pigs every time she's out doing a mill run. That's what I mean. But she's experienced. She knows what she's doing. She has the knowledge and things like that. And they said, yeah, well, I'm welcome to bring up your horses and your dogs, because we want you. And that's what it is, you know, if you were someone who'd never been in the industry and said, I want to come up with my dogs and my horses, they'd be like, oh, probably not. That's what I mean. Work your way up. Find the right job and work your way up. Which is, again, we're coming and moving up the ranks. Start at the bottom. Again, I've touched this. Everything in here has probably already been spoken about. But just start at the bottom, work your way up. You're not going to find the perfect job to start off with. If you got to go do a station cook for 6 weeks and work your way up, that's what you got to do. If you got to go do a governor's job for 6 weeks or 8 weeks and work your way up, that's what you got to do. Strike a deal. Again, I touched on before, saying, hey, I'm a welder. Can I weld up all your yards? But I also want to get into the industry. Can you also give me experience and maybe I can do 3 days a week welding and 2 days a week working with cattle? Can you do that? I can guarantee you'll find someone who's keen to do it. Or driving a tractor. Hey, I'm going to do all your boom spraying or your spraying for the next couple of weeks. Can you give me 3 or 4 weeks after that of livestock experience? Because if you want to go work on a cattle station, but you've got welding experience, use it to your advantage. Same with training horses, things like that. Just use any skill set you have to be able to strike a deal and say, hey, I know I'm not experienced with livestock, but if I do this for this days a week, can we go from there? And the other one is work hard. Again, I mentioned it earlier. Workers can pick up when you're passionate about it and when you're keen and when you want to work hard and things like that. It is hard work. It's not easy. A lot of people think that it's, cruisy, laid back, jump on your horse and fucking follow the chopper around. It isn't. It's hard fucking work. Sorry. But it's worth it. It's enjoyable. And if hard work is what you do, then you're all over it. So this is the first step I'd cover on to getting your job. Basically breaking it down. Finish school, get your education, get your certificates, apply for the jobs at the right time of the year and the right jobs, and then, move up the ranks from there. So that is how to get a job in the agricultural industry. I'll be covering more videos down the track of things like basics of animal handling. One thing too, to get low stress stock handling certificate, which I didn't write down, but that's an important one if you can get it. We'll be, and then basic animal practices, things like that. So if this is stuff you're interested in, please keep an eye on my page, because I will be trying to do more of this stuff. Life's just been hectic, so it makes it hard. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.